Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Costa Rica Crypto. Today I'm sitting down with somebody in the space who I'm a huge fan of. He's a close friend of mine. I mean, Gavin, obviously we talk every single day inside of EOSIO OGs. One of the coolest and most intelligent dudes that I have the pleasure to converse with on a regular basis. Also one of the founders of SOV on EOS, which is kind of like one of the original DeFi projects on EOS. And today, I guess we're going to talk about some DeFi on EOS versus Ethereum. And then we're going to talk about what you've been doing, because I know how busy you've been, and some of the new progressions with SOV. So Gavin, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you coming on. Welcome. What's the latest, dude? How you been?
I've been well, man. How about you?
I've been good, man. Really busy. Yeah. Things are good. It's been busy, but
yeah, you've seen on our end over here, we've been extremely busy as well, but it's good. It's good to be busy.
It is good to be busy. You can't cry about being busy when all you wanted to do was eat, right? That's what they say anyway. I don't know. I still cry about everything, but that's me. Yeah. I guess it was kind of funny because we were talking a little bit about some of these DeFi projects that have been coming up in the space, and I've kind of mentioned that a lot of them, just the traction on Ethereum seems to be a little bit larger than that of EOS in terms of DeFi right now. And I see a lot of, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not a maximalist at all. But EOS is where my heart is, right? EOS and EOSIO. And that's really what's brought a tremendous amount of opportunity to my life and allowed me to, get involved with various things and meet really cool people and oddly enough and unsuspectingly enough, build a career in blockchain from really nothing. So my loyalty will always be with EOS. And I think that there's a lot of inherent issues with Ethereum as they relate to DeFi. What's kind of your opinion of that? What do you think some of those issues are? And why is not all of, that's not fair, but why is a lot of the money in?
It's interesting. This goes kind of deep, actually. Like, I was thinking about it the other day. There are some really cool new DeFi things that are going on, and that's attracting some money to Ethereum. Yeah. But a lot of the money is already in Ethereum. It's already there. It wants to stay there, and it wants to attract other money there too. So, I mean, there's a huge difference when it comes to volume and liquidity in EOS and Ethereum projects. That's there's no debating that or anything. But part of it too, though, honestly, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I kind of was thinking out loud, saying it on Telegram. I was like, I think part of this whole like mega DeFi bubble we have going on right now, it's a bit of a scam. not like well, it's like this. So Ethereum 2 is it's delayed, as always, right? It's delayed. What's the hype? That was the hype. It was a huge hype cycle planned for that they were gonna, build it up and everything. So there's not that. So what do? You just pump all that money into all these DeFi projects and create all these another like round of bubbles and stuff on Ethereum. But it attracts a lot of money to that blockchain, gets a lot of people interested. But yeah, man, eventually you're gonna see the wave kind of break, so to speak, because the fees are just gonna get outrageous. The wait times, we don't even talk about wait times. We mainly just joke around about how bad fees are, but wait times are, horrendous, and a lot of times it won't work, but you'll wait maybe a day or something, and that's just insane to talk about when we're talking about the volatility of these markets that we're trading. Paying a huge fee just for the right to make the transaction, and also all that time waiting is. There's got to be people getting wrecked, man.
Yeah, I know. And don't get me wrong, man. I'm really not a maximalist. Like, I appreciate Ethereum. There's, there's projects on Ethereum that I'm interested in, that I have placed money into because I think that they're cool projects and I think that they're going to do really well. But I think my personal opinion is just kind of like first mover advantage. I don't dislike Ethereum. I don't have anything against Ethereum, but I just think that in terms of advantages, like you mentioned a few of them, like gas transactions, time waiting, I don't know if Ethereum 2.0 is going to solve any of those. Like, I kind of had this like attitude, I don't
know if it's ever going to happen.
Yeah. I kind of have this attitude, like, blockchain is blockchain, and all like different chains and everything else kind of help rise all ships and bring them up to the surface. But I just feel like there is a huge discretionary amount of like interest inside of EOSIO in terms of DeFi. And I think we have some really cool projects that are coming up. Yours, of course, being one of them, like SOV, are starting to gain momentum. And I think it's just mostly because of a, like just first market mover. Do you think that that's probably kind of why we're still waiting to onboard more people into the EOS DeFi system?
I mean, if you look at the active user counts on the biggest DeFi applications that have gone insane on Ethereum, they're like 1,000 max, right?
Oh, really?
Like 1,000. Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah. So it has everything to do with whales and liquidity, man. I hate to like be the alien meme guy with the whales, like it's whales, man, it's whales. No, but I mean, really, that has a lot to do with it. You have some mega whales in Ethereum, some people that I think maybe, I can't remember, maybe Syed said this, but maybe somebody else said it, I don't remember, but like one of the largest problems with EOS as far as like compared to Ethereum is it doesn't have a bunch of like old school holders that 1,000x, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a bunch of people that 1,000x and they have tons of liquidity and tons of money and capital to throw at these projects and do these things, they do that and they create these things, and it makes it more fun to go play there as far as the liquidity goes and everything like that. So it's definitely has a lot to do with that. It's interesting though too, because you have like kind of two interesting things going on with DeFi right now. And it's funny that the SOV projects actually kind of have both, but you have these like weird tokenomics.
Yes.
Ample's a good example. Yes, Ample's a great example, or Dample or Pample, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
I like
but
Pample.
Like, yeah, Pample, sure, Pample. It's either Dample or Pample. It just kind of depends on what day it is, what time of day. Yeah. But you have like these interesting tokenomic type DeFi projects, and then you also have like these liquidity farming and yield farming type DeFi projects. And SOV, because we have SVX now too, the exchange token, it really kind of has both. We have one where you're getting yield for staking your SVX and you're getting off the exchange, and then pretty soon we're going to have it upgraded to where you're getting paid to provide liquidity, and you can long and short EOSIO tokens. And then SOV has variable rate deflation. It's like a purely deflationary coin, and it has it's the only variable rate deflation cryptocurrency out there. So I imagine if we were on Ether, our market caps would be pretty freaking insane just by the law of the tide rising all ships and stuff like that, or whatever, like on Ethereum specifically. But also what we do wouldn't be possible with Ethereum, and that's not knocking Ethereum or bragging on EOS or anything. It's like they both have their advantages. I can make products and do projects that have this crazy stuff. They do all sorts of wild things that you can't even consider possible on something like Ethereum, but the liquidity and volumes just, it's not really there. So you have this like super awesome, race car, this Bugatti, so to speak, but, in this great racetrack, but there's like nobody in the crowds, yet to pay to watch tickets, where you have like a destruction derby over here, right? It's like a fucking destruction derby with all these crazy ass projects that kind of work, kind of don't, like you got to wait forever. You got to pay for the transaction. It might go through, it might not. I might be rich. I might be poor. Who knows? But it's fun. And that's like the destruction derby with the stadium is just, the seats are sold out. There's a line out the door for the shit show. You know what I mean? That's kind of the best analogy I can probably make for it.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point too. Like everybody made a bunch of magical internet money off of like Ether, and they're like, they're balling right now, and they're doing well. Like all the early investors in Ethereum probably did really, really well. I know a few of them.
Oh yeah, very well. Exceptionally, even after this huge drawdown in this bear market, they did exceptionally well. It was so cheap for so long. I mean, think about how much we support EOS and EOSIO. If we all of a sudden went, like 500x, I think we would support EOS, EOSIO more or less. It'd probably be even more, and we already support them a lot. So it would be.
Hey, you make a good point, and I think that's coming. Like I don't know. I think obviously, we're kind of where my heart is. I love all blockchains. I'm taking a look at like Polkadot lately because I think that's really interesting in various different things. But EOS and EOSIO in general is always like where my heart has been. And it's been like a bumpy ride, you know what I mean? But there isn't a chain out there or a project out there that I dislike, unless people are trying to be malicious and separate people from their money. And I think, there's been a lot of things that have been heating up, at least with Brendan Bloomer on Twitter. He's talking a lot about some new things that are coming, and I've heard some rumors in the background about some things happening. And I think that you're right. We do have the Ferrari. EOSIO is just, it works, man. Like we were talking about earlier, like, if you want transactions, you can go to Rex, and if you don't want to spend a ridiculous amount and try to bid for gas money, you can just go into Rex, you can dump in an EOS or 2 EOS, and you're like set for the month. Like somebody still has to bear that transaction cost, but it's there, it's available, and it's cheap. And a lot of applications are also learning that there are various ways of customer acquisition to be able to move some of those costs onto either themselves and take care of them, or onto their potential users, while providing some equitable exchange too. So I think like the future is good for EOS, you know what I mean? And the future is good for EOS DeFi, I think that,
and we've actually kind of done this, but I think a lot of people have been looking at this narrative about paying for your users' transactions and the enterprise, and take care of all that stuff on the back end. And I think there's a big place for that, and we're already starting to see a little bit of that.
Yep.
But I think that people are missing another really key thing about EOS, and something that we've picked up on before most, thank goodness. Or it's always, but like on Ethereum, you're paying to make these transactions, but on EOS, if you have like a bunch of EOS stake, you can get paid to make transactions. Like not just like, it isn't just, transactions are free. No, they have value. You can literally get paid to just make transactions. Now that's pretty controversial, and a lot of people will say that's spam, or that's this or that's that, because specifically with like mining tokens and stuff like that, because you can use kind of somewhat kind of a proof of work. It is proof of work. It's using your CPU to mint tokens on EOS. And it creates a lot of strain on the network. But on another level, even further, that people haven't been really looking into, but we're the first person to do it. But you can take that mining, so to speak, using CPU to get paid for making transactions, and then you can further utilize that. You can like harness it. You can kind of like take it from there, take it from the blockchain, harness it, and then make it do a specific purpose. Yeah. So you could like have something be mining going on, and then have a completely scalable, massive transaction base of stuff going on that's based off of the miners, that is taking care of things that you don't have to pay for, and that the people that are actually doing it are getting paid to do it. So like with SOVdex right now, with SVX, you mine it, and whenever you mine it, we use your CPU as well to power all the distribution of all the rewards, from the exchange fees to the inflation in SVX and stuff like that. So it's just going round after round after round. If you have X amount staked, and that's paid for by the miners, and they're also getting paid to make those transactions. So they're getting paid to make that while doing like more transactions for everybody else. So transactions are valuable. The point of my whole rant right here is, obviously on Ethereum, on EOS, everything, on any blockchain, it's a good blockchain, the transactions are actually valuable. Yeah. Now, if you're paying for them, the miners are receiving that value. Great, if you're a miner. Yeah. Now, if you're not paying for them, or if it's like a system like it has on EOS, there's so many ways to monetize that and to harness that. Like when you think about with EOS, where you don't have the mining layer, where it's just you're paying for the transaction, it has that. Whenever you have enough, you can set up all kinds of systems to basically farm CPU, kind of to use it for whatever purpose that you need, and then you can have something that completely scales. Now, we haven't seen really much of that on EOS yet. Everybody keeps repeating the same narrative of abstract it from the user, like the user doesn't want to know they're using CPU, blah, blah, blah. I think they do want to know that they're using CPU when they know they're getting paid for it. Like when they know that they're getting paid for it, they definitely don't mind using their CPU.
Yeah, that's true. That's something you guys have done really, really well, which is kind of like shuffling around the incentives. And I've seen a few other things that are kind of coming to EOSIO that are doing similar. But you make a really good point. That's an absolute huge upgrade, and especially what you guys are doing with SOV. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I use the word. I think a lot of people use the word, but the whole word DeFi kind of makes me, I'm starting to cringe a little bit every time that I hear it. Like, because of course, like different levels of decentralized finance, and that's fine. Like decentralization is good, and in certain use cases it's fantastic, and sometimes there's a trade-off in terms of that you should make. But one thing that I love about I really love about SOV is it is like very much DeFi. It's this decentralized finance system that kind of rewards the people who are making the transactions and holding, or rather the people who are holding on to this stuff with, because it's a currency that deflates over time, right? Like where did the initial supply start? Where is it at right now? And what's kind of this deflation?
It started at 1 billion. It's like close to 620 million right now. It's been like almost a year.
That's crazy.
So it's pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You have all these other projects that are like a 2-token system.
Yep.
And we became like but we're actually like way more decentralized than they are. We really are. We're like crazy. And we became like a 2-token system. I don't want to say by accident, but not by like initial design like others. Like, so we have SOV that's a variable rate deflationary currency. It's immutable. We can't make any changes. Nothing can happen to it. The supply only goes down.
Yep.
That's it. It is what it is. And then we have SVX it's a pure utility that, you stake it, you earn Bitcoin for staking it, you earn more SVX for staking it, you get 75% off of exchange fees, you get up to 50% mining bonus, you get all these things, right? But it's like pure utility, and it is centralized because we have control of the contract, right? We have to update it sometimes and change things with the dividends if things are, because we have like the rounds like 0.1% payout, so it's a perpetual dividend system. But sometimes we update things. Sometimes sometimes you discover some stuff. It's a lot more complex of a contract. Like the other day, we had like the Bitcoin stopped getting payout because there was something where it was cutting off, and it was saying basically there was a precision thing instead of a double. It needed to be a long double in C++, right? And so it stopped paying people a little bit earlier than it was supposed to. Nobody lost any money, but it just stopped paying. But it's like we were able to update the contract and stuff like that. Like SOV is different. It got audited by multiple sources. Is out here. This one's been audited as well, but we constantly are making updates to the DEX and adding more products and adding more functionality. So the token and the other things need to be upgradable, right? So it's centralized, but you only mint that by burning SOV. So they benefit each other, right? And then one goes up, the value goes up to the other usually, or they kind of interact with each other uniquely. But yeah, the SVX is very much DeFi, where SOV has like the tokenomics DeFi with deflation, like that kind of a decentralized finance thing. SVX actually is more of a what you would call DeFi, especially when we have our what we call X-Core upgrade, where it's complete community liquidity, and you can long and short tokens with that, and then you earn yield by providing liquidity. But when you're longing or shorting, or you can go 50-50 and you're just getting paid. It's very, very flexible, but we've been working on that for a long time. We started working on that, and I want to be like clear about that because everybody else on this like DeFi craze now, they're trying to do stuff. We have the algorithmic DEX, right? The swap DEX. We had that in January or something like that, right? That's DeFi all day. Like that's Bancor. It's a modified Bancor algorithm. It's a little bit different because it doesn't have a third token because there is no need for the third token. But I mean, we had that, and then DDC had an idea right after, and he immediately started working on this community liquidity protocol, which is the definition of what people are really thinking of as DeFi now, where people are pooling their liquidity together to yield farm and stuff like that. So we're still working on that. That'll come out eventually, but that's going to be the next evolution in like the DeFi, so to speak, for SOV. But yeah, we have a very interesting 2-token system that's very much like it competes very much with how you have these stable coin 2-token systems.
Definitely.
Where SOV would kind of be like the stable coin.
Yep.
But SOV is not a stable coin.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
No, it's
not at all. It's not. But it's SOV is stable to SOV, right? But there's many people that would argue that there's like, what is a stable coin, right? You're pegging it to depreciating assets, and like kind of what is that exactly? It gets a little confusing. US dollar. Yeah, like why would you peg it to this stuff?
You know what I mean?
So SOV kind of has that kind of like the stable coin, where it has something that is putting constant demand on it and constant
utility.
Decreasing both two things. It's putting constant demand and constantly decreasing the supply.
Yep.
And then it's immutable like a currency, right? And then you have the other thing that just does stuff, makes products to create value for, like the DAC, so the DAC token, so to speak, that would build products or vote on stuff for these 2 token systems. But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. But I think SOV and SVX they're good, man. Like I don't think many people, I explain it to a lot, but I don't think many people I don't think that many real big investors have found SOV and SVX. Like, I just don't think they have, because I think if they did and they looked into the tokenomics and they looked at like some of the other things they've invested into and what they've done, and they see that this is literally completely set up for the community, like not set up for the founders, like at all. Like, we literally put our own liquidity into it all the time, put our own time, resources, everything into it, just out of like passion and stuff like that. And we are community members as well. We see ourselves more as like community members, supporting the community that, you know, we are community members of.
Definitely.
But I think that when people actually see that and they see how these burning tokenomics and how they really feed off of each other, I need to make like a diagram loop of how it works too. I think that we'll probably see a pretty big shift. SOV is not terrible. It's like 2.4 million market cap or something. But SVX is cheap.
It's all cheap, bro. It's all cheap. And that's one of the reasons why I do like SOV, because you did lock the contract. You said you were going to. You're like, all right, lock the contract. And then not only did you lock the contract, you know what I mean? You had a small stake for doing what you did with SOV, but you kept building on it. You kept working on it. You kept pounding away. What you were just talking about there, which was these being able to short and long. And look, I'm going to break it down. Some people think that if you are speculating on tokens that you're like a bad person, or you're this or you're that. And I think that there's a very fine, for me, where I draw the line, this is just from my moral code, is if you're like shilling something and you're like, buy, and then you get in here, grab this token, this is the best, and you have like this massive, and then you have this massive supply and you just slam it into people and you're like, oh yeah. Like, I think that kind of makes you a piece of garbage, to be honest with you. But
I agree.
But I think that if you need liquidity for these type of assets, for them to be true variable assets, for people to be able to access them. You need people who are speculating on them. I work in the industry myself. I love EOSIO. I love the technology. I love the projects. I love the people. I'm very much involved. I'll continue to be involved. But I don't personally see anything wrong with if the trading and that type of thing. And I think what you're talking about building here, which is the ability to be able to short and long regular EOSIO tokens, will also help to spark some, because currently that does not exist. That doesn't exist on any exchanges. You can't do that, and that's something that you guys are taking care of. And in my opinion, I think that it's going to be good for the ecosystem. I think it'll increase liquidity. It'll also bring more investors potentially to the ecosystem through doing what you're doing. I'm going to make sure, because you sent, obviously I put out a tweet the other day, but I want to make sure that I drop that video in the description below that kind of explains what you guys are doing with, because I think it's a huge contribution. Did you hear anything back from NewDex? Because I know you're replying.
Well, they kind of got back a little bit. They said they wanted to have like the complete product first. Yeah. I was like, I won't need any funding at that point. I mean, like, I'll build it. I was planning on building it anyway. It's just going to take more time. Yeah. But they got back. They're interested, but they want to see it complete first. I showed them the decks, everything. Like, it'll reuse a lot of components. So that's fine.
What do you need to finish that, Gav? Like,
not much, man.
If there's
we just got to do a little. We just got to do a little bit more testing. Backend's basically done.
Yeah.
Not much. Just hook up charts and stuff, and we already have all the stuff. So this really, it's like we can have it live fairly quick. Yeah. Fairly quick. I want to try and like do a couple different things with it though. So I want to do some testing and experimentation before we go live on it, and we just got the charts and different things working recently on SOVdex.io. But like shorting the tokens and everything, it's going to be really fair too. Yeah, it's not going to be like your normal futures that you can just sell contracts, right? Yeah, you're going to have to anytime that you short a token, you're shorting it basically inside the relay, so inside the market, the algorithmic market. And you're going to be taking profits in that asset as well. So you can't you're not going to short, let's say it's SOV EOS. If you want to short SOV, you're going to put up SOV to short SOV, and then if you are right, you're going to make more SOV. Right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's fair. It's like a fully, more fully collateralized, so to speak, in that aspect.
Yeah, I don't want to date this video, but there's a lot of, and I'm going to say it. I'm swearing. I'll probably get banned by YouTube, but there's a lot of fuckery happening inside of like the shorting and longing in the main market. Like yesterday, a bunch of longs, and then we saw like $1,000 liquidation from like in like how long? It was like seconds. Like,
and I think basically
I think
anyone who is a leveraged long in EOS was wiped out. I think unless like maybe a couple that were like 2-to-1 leverage, because it went from almost 350 to 250 in 10 minutes or less.
I know.
It was fucking insane, man. I was watching it happen.
God,
and I got EOS. I got a chunk of EOS. I was like, shit. This is a bit much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I didn't sign up for this. Somebody call the SEC.
I know. Call the SEC, Martha.
Tell somebody this is illegal. I shouldn't be allowed to lose this much money this fast.
I know.
Call somebody.
I know. Somebody call
Shut
somebody.
it down.
I know.
Shut it down. Where are the circuit breakers?
I actually did, for exactly that reason. Like, I do enjoy trading as much as I enjoy working in the industry and like helping to build projects and doing fundraising and whatever else that I do. I do enjoy the trading aspect, but I just stopped using leverage because of stuff like that. Like, it's crazy the way a few small actors can do a couple of things, and $1 billion and between 67,000 people liquidated in seconds. $1 billion of people who just thought Bitcoin was going to go up. Like, what the?
Yeah, they got wrecked, dude. It sucked. I almost actually, I've been trading really well. Like, EOS started doing well. I had that position forever because I was building that whole time. I was getting wrecked forever, man. Just getting totally fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
But then it ended up turning around nice for me. I did really, really well. And then I rolled a bunch of profits in the Bitcoin futures recently. I was trading those. I was doing well, man. Everything I was touching was turning to gold. I'm not fucking joking. I've been killing it the last like 4 days, just absolutely murdering it. But I got wrecked last night. But I'm still way up. I'm like, thank God. But I was up so fucking much more. I got so wrecked. Like, I'm not going to lie. So I've been trading it so well. Then EOS was at like 335. And I was like, fuck this, man. It's about to dip to like 305 again. Like, I'm almost positive on this shit. This is too much. Like, so I sell. And it pumps, right? It pumps so hard.
Do you think?
And it sucks me back in, and I buy back, and then right after I buy back, we get that fucking move, man. I got railed on that, but I was up so much that it didn't hurt me too bad.
I saw it coming in advance. I stopped doing leverage trading because it's just like, and I just started investing in projects that I really like, and I've been doing a lot of research both within EOS, and I am investing a little bit more outside of EOSIO, but I'll continue to invest in EOS, of course. But I just think that when you are using leverage on some of these tokens, you're better off finding gems, like beautiful little projects that you can put some money into and you can just leave it there, like SOV. Yeah. But I also like what you guys are doing. Like, well, the way that your liquidity system is set up, I mean, are we going to see any like black swan events where people just get absolutely toasted out of nowhere?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we should see some interesting shit, man. Here's the thing. Like, I can't make any like 100% predictions, but what I can say is this, and this is what I really love about it, is right now, like, we have the DEX, and a lot of that really is I'm providing liquidity.
Of course.
So it's really easy to arb. People just arb it. They're just taking money from me all day, little bastards.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I love you all. Arb the DEX all you want. But what's funny about it is the way they are right now, these algorithmic based markets, they're artificial. They're trailing. That's why they're really heavily arbed, because they move after usually.
Yeah.
When we use this liquidity protocol, because the long and short positions are going to be the relays, is the way that it's set up. Yeah, man, you're gonna see some really interesting stuff, and it's gonna be dynamic. It's gonna behave like an order book. So if just like we saw in EOS and crypto in general last night, somebody could just totally flip the fucking order books, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that the liquidity doesn't stay balanced at 50% in the price, and the liquidity moves like this, and it stays teeter-totter, like perfectly balanced for all the shit. No, Real life doesn't work like that. When extreme market conditions happen, when things change, an order book just fucking flips, man. Yeah. It just goes boom. You get all the liquidity on the ask now and nothing on the bid. That's what happens, and it slides down 40% in 10 minutes. Enjoy it. You know, I mean, this is the reality of real markets and order book markets, which are based on humans jumping in and out as they choose, as they please. People trying to lead the market, trying to do everything. It's a very, very real market. It's the combination. It's the culmination of just a giant crowd of people in exactly what they're doing. Where the algo markets are different. But when we have this upgrade, this X-Core upgrade, it's basically going to make the algorithm market perform the same. It's going to be able to do whatever because people can jump in and out with these long and short positions.
Yep.
You don't pay any slippage when that happens either. So you can put as much liquidity down as you want at any time. Yeah. You can take if you have X amount or whatever, you can take 100% of your liquidity whenever you want, and you can put as much as you want in whenever you want at no slippage.
That's amazing.
Anytime, right? Yeah. So you're going to have that going on. So people are going to be able to jump in and jump out of the order book or the liquidity, so to speak, because that's what we're looking at here on a fucking dime, right? Excuse my language. Sorry, I hope we don't get off YouTube or whatever. Cares? But on a dime, man, like that. So to answer your question after my rant a little bit here, but are we going to see fuckery? When we see we're absolutely going to see fuckery, man. Because and people say so much like manipulation, all shit. What is manipulation? What is it? Yeah. What's a market? A market is manipulation, right? It's just people trying to fucking make money, or they're trying to buy and sell. Market is they are one and the same. You can't separate the manipulation from the market, right? So are we going to see people just loading up on a short and then just wrecking markets? Yeah, we're going to see that. Are we going to see somebody sniff out what they're doing and get on the long and take all their liquidity in the process and trick them? Yeah, we're going to see that too. Like all this stuff that people have been like free arbing algorithmic markets, just like it's so easy and stuff. That shit's going to change is what I'm imagining. It's going to get really, really interesting. And whales are going to be able to splash around in the algorithm markets like they are the order book markets. And I think it's going to be fun, man. I'm very much looking forward to it because there's so many market making strategies too, from not only just shorting and longing and increasing risk and trying to make money, maybe trying to manipulate markets a little bit and splash around and be a whale and really move things in your favor. But there's also just the ability to put down 50% of both sides. Just boom, and then you're completely tethered to that asset, and then you're just making money on the rewards that you get for putting up liquidity. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of different ways to play it, or you could 70-30 it, 100 it. If you're 100%ing it one or the other, you're pure long and you're shorting. If you're 50-50, you're just in the base asset. You know what I mean? There's so much you can do with it. It's very, very, very flexible, but it's going to get interesting. It allows for a lot of really interesting market making tactics too that we haven't used yet, that we haven't been exposed to.
But this whole progression is natural in early markets, and I think that what you're doing is actually going to help to attract more liquidity, more people, more investors to the markets, because now they have the ability to be able to do what they're kind of used to doing in larger markets. With more liquidity comes more stability, and this is
hedge a little bit, or take more risk when they want, or jump out completely without that slippage. They got a nice profit, got a nice short.
And that's what you need to provide additional liquidity and stabilized markets. So I think that all in all, everything that you're talking about here is exactly the type of thing that we need within EOS and EOSIO to be able to attract more people, because the truth of the matter is without speculators, you don't have a market, and people can say whatever they want. You need builders and you need speculators, and sometimes the builders can be speculators, and vice versa. I mean, I think that that's the kind of thing that's really going to attract more eyes and start to pull more potentially of, that some of the other larger markets, like maybe that of Ethereum, and bring their eyes onto EOSIO, because the system works. It's great technology. And I want to see more people coming in to check out cool things like SOV.
I want to see this export stuff. I want to see it on more blockchains too, to be honest. It's not, I think it's so much bigger than just EOS. It's such it's an evolution of algorithmic markets when you think about it. So we took a fake market that's the most efficient because it's working on algorithms. You don't need a buyer or seller. You don't need the counterparty present at any time. The market just takes care of itself. So we've taken that and we've made it to where it's also a leading market. So it's going to be big. And another thing that I would love to see it on Ethereum, and maybe we'll focus on doing that. And another thing that I think is really cool that I haven't mentioned, but I think people will start to click even more how valuable something like this can be, especially with these liquid tokens, and could be very good for even something more liquid, but still fairly liquid. But say you want to long something like let's say DAP. Let's say DAP. Let's say you want to long DAP, right? Yep. So let's say that there's not that much liquidity as far as buying it. There's just, the ask is very thin. If you bought the amount that you wanted to buy, that you're going to absolutely move the market way more than you want to move it. It's going to go up a lot more than the price is going to be higher than what you wanted to have for your target for the amount that you have, right? So you don't want to. You want to try to get on the bid, but then you try to get on the bid, and then people try to front run you, and then it's this thing because the liquidity is so thin. So with this protocol, this X-Core protocol, when you long it, you could put up EOS instantly at that price. You don't move the market at all, right? You don't move the market at all. You're just putting up the EOS liquidity right there, and then you could just pump the market real quick, the DAP market, get other people FOMO and everything. And then when you take your profits, say that the market moves up, boom, you're like, okay, I got the move up that I expected.
Yep.
You can pull your EOS out right at that point and you take your profits and everything, but you're not, at no point did you buy or sell DAP, right?
Yeah.
At no point did you move the market up higher and made yourself chase more, or crashed it when selling it to take profits. You didn't do either of that shit. You didn't do any of it. Yeah. You completely avoided doing that, which most people hate.
Yeah.
Which the thing that most people hate about these liquid tokens more than anything is just getting in and getting out of them. It's horrendous. You moon it when you get in a significant position, and then you wreck yourself. So if you're just buying and selling immediately, you're just totally wrecking yourself, right? Yep. But if you have it with this, you can long it instead of buying the asset, just long it, right?
Yep.
It goes up, take your profit. You never buy or sold the actual underlying asset at all. Boom, you're done. You didn't fuck with the market really at all. You just put up some liquidity. You were right. You got your money, and you jumped out. You didn't pump or dump it or anything like that. That's cool. And then the same thing that's interesting too is people think they're like, oh man, let's short this thing. It's a pile of shit, right? Oh my God, we're going to short this thing to the dirt. Well, you only want to really do that with something that you would want more of because you get that asset. But to short it, you have to have the asset too. So maybe if a bunch of people wanted to short something, then you could actually cause it to moon in price first because everybody has to buy it in order to short it. So there's a rush to buy it to short it. So so tons of interesting things should happen with it.
Yeah, I like that. It's like ethical longing and shorting. Where you're not, where you're kind of like being respectful to the markets too. So that's.
Yeah, sure. You can think of it as ethical. It's just kind of a byproduct of it. It's people. That's not why they're going to be using it though. Not because of ethics. They're going to be using it because, hey, I can put down 1,000 EOS right here, right now on DAP. 1,000 EOS. There isn't that much DAP within 20%. And I can put that down right here on EOS. Boom. You know what I mean? And I don't move the market at all. And I got my lawn. I'm good. But maybe somebody sees that and they dump right into it real quick and just take that one.
I love it, man. I love everything that you're doing. Look, Gav, I don't want to keep you too long because I think that was a really cool, succinct explanation of what you got, what you have going on. Excuse my terrible grammar. Let me speak English. But not only do I love what you're doing, I love the fact that you created this token, decentralized it, you kept working on it, you're building new things outside of it that are going to contribute to the ecosystem. But I just think that you're an amazing guy. Obviously, we talk in our chat, kind of like the EOS OGs chat, like all the time. I just love what you're doing, and I love that you're like one of these guys who just stood up, built a product, threw away the keys, and then is building an ecosystem around it. I love everything about that. If anybody is interested in possibly helping to fund you to get that done in whatever type of thing that you decide, like where can they get a hold of you, Gav? What's the best way to come and speak to you?
Telegram is by far the best way to get a hold of me, without a doubt.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to make sure that I leave your contact below. Do you have anything else you want to say, man? Or I think we should do this again soon. Love what you're doing with SOV.
Have you played with the new SOVdex at all?
I have a little bit. I've just been, honestly, Gav, there's so many things going on right now. The space is.
I feel you, man. Everything's.
I better.
Got bubbles and.
It's like
tough.
I'm doing lots of stuff. Like just have like working on a few different projects, and then building websites and business development and capital raises, and just life has been insane, but it's all good things. I promise you, I'm going to start getting on SOVdex. I'm going to make sure that I leave all those links below as well. And Gav, dude.
Man. Yeah, that's great. I feel the same about you, man. It's great. We need more people like you supporting the ecosystems, without a doubt.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Take care, and look forward to talking to you again soon.